Talking about kegs and eggs, fertility and oocytes. Talking candid while having a drink or two. You'll hear real talk from a real genetic counselor who's miscarried multiple times before. It's time for Katie Lee CGC.
Hey guys, it's me, Katie Lee CGC, and welcome back to my channel. Today is my 13-week pregnancy update. I can't believe it. Depending on how you divide the 40-week pregnancy or 40-week gestation period, you could consider, like somewhere around 13 or 14 weeks to be moving into the second trimester, which feels great. Those of you who follow me probably know that I have a healthy guy, a healthy son, who's 4.5 years old, and then since then we've had 5 miscarriages. None of those miscarriages have been in the second trimester. They've all been first trimester losses. So I, at times, I'm feeling a little bit reassured, but I'm also still really nervous. This was a big week because we got our non-invasive prenatal testing, or NIPT, results. I'm actually going to make a video where I share my own NIPT results, and I'll walk through exactly what they look like and all of the things that NIPT tests for from my genetic counseling experience. And for us, I was happy to see that the baby has a reduced risk to be affected with trisomy 18, trisomy 13, trisomy 21, and the sex chromosome imbalances. But that NIPT testing also determines biologic sex of the baby with a pretty high accuracy, usually around like 99% or so. And we decided to find out the sex right away when our results came back. I always kind of thought it would be fun to not find out the sex of your baby until they're born. But after all of this loss and sadness that my husband and I have had for the past 2.5 years trying to get pregnant and have an ongoing pregnancy, it felt like this would be one positive thing we could cling to either way, one like tangible thing that you can know about that baby that's growing in you. And for me, I felt like it might help me get a little bit excited to be able to visualize, whether I'm going to be having a son or a daughter. So we found out the sex, and it is a girl, and we were both thrilled. We couldn't believe it. I have been really preparing myself since I had my son. I've been preparing myself to be just an all-boy mom. I don't know why, but I just thought that might be the case for me. So I was surprised. I didn't have any feelings, and I never have had any feelings about whether a baby I'm carrying is a boy or a girl. But I was surprised, I think, just because of the mindset I had been in that, hey, I might only have boys, and that's cool too. I'm excited to make a nursery and pick out some clothes and kind of do some fun stuff when I get further along to start preparing for her arrival, hopefully. As far as pregnancy symptoms, I'm still exhausted. I'm still super nauseous. I have been puking. I puked down the side of the car yesterday, but mostly my puke has been in the toilet, so that's good. This is so awkward for me. Like, filming these videos is a little bit awkward, maybe a 3 out of 10, but I did a 9 out of 10 awkward thing. Probably the only thing that would be more awkward is if I had to film myself dancing or singing terribly, and I decided I would start trying to film my bump. I'm kind of showing knowing my body. I know that my body looks different, but I don't think anybody would guess that I'm pregnant looking at my body by any means. So I'm gonna start filming a progression of my bump growing, which will be kind of fun to look back at, even though it is going to be entirely awkward for me to film it every time. So there's that. I'll insert a clip right here. Some of you have asked if we have told our son yet, and the answer is no. I am nervous to tell him because I do not want to have to explain a miscarriage to him again. I've only done that once before. The first time we conceived after him, we told him about the baby and then had to tell him about the miscarriage, and it was one of those things that just fascinated him. He had so many questions about it, and he was just starting to begin to conceptualize and understand death, and our dog had also just died. Shout out to Stouty Girl, the best dog ever. So it was just a lot. Like, when I was going through my own grief, it was a lot to repeatedly answer his questions that I don't have all the answers to. I'm still nervous to have to, again, deal with my own grief potentially and have to explain to him about miscarriage and death and fetal death. And, it's just, it's just not something I wanted to do. And he doesn't, you know, he has no idea that I'm pregnant. So I've been going to appointments when he's at school, and I mean, he just has no idea I'm pregnant. So we'll probably wait maybe until I have my, I guess, 14-week ultrasound or so. I am excited to tell him though, but also this school year in pre-K, he's finally starting to understand that, you know, different families are different and they might have 4 kids or 3 kids or 2 kids, but almost all of his classmates do have a sibling. I think actually all of them do. He's got 10 classmates. So he did ask me a few times this year, you know, how come other people have brothers and sisters and I don't? And he wasn't saying that he wanted a brother or sister. He was just like trying to understand why he was the only kid in our family. So we've had those conversations this year, and just talking about how all families look different. The parents can be different, and the number of kids in the family can be different. I hear from a lot of people who have secondary infertility or secondary recurrent pregnancy loss like me, so that happening after you already have a kid, that your main desire is to give your child a sibling, you know, to give your child a sibling. And for me, that wasn't really it, because I think there are lots of benefits to being an only child, just as far as the resources you can pour into that kid, time, money, travel. I mean, it's endless. How much more you would have to give an only child compared to if you're dividing your attention between 2 or 3 or 4 kids or more. So I was starting to see that as one of the perks. Okay, anyways, I'm kind of getting sidetracked here. The bottom line is I'm feeling all right. I still feel really nervous. I still just don't feel excited. After each ultrasound, or like after those NIPT results, I have like 3 minutes to 5 minutes of relief of like, okay, everything is all right now. We know everything's all right. And then it goes right back to, who knows, I could have, you know, a dead fetus inside of me. I just don't know. And that's just how it is. I wish it wasn't. It's not nearly as exciting or fun or thrilling as my pregnancy was with my son, where I was just so joyous. I was so excited and so happy to be finally getting to have a baby. It doesn't feel like that at all, unfortunately. And you know, that's just my truth. That's okay. Maybe I will get some of that joy later on in pregnancy. We'll just have to see. I think that's about it for my pregnancy update. Please check out my video. I'm gonna film right now my video explaining my NIPT results and showing my results. And thanks for watching.